Okay, hello everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are. It's okay. Hello everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'll need to put that away. I hope that didn't come through. I had some sound problems. Can you hear me okay? And we have a very exciting live stream coming up. We've been looking for I will be giving feedback to 52 assignment black and white images, and I can see that there are a lot of people from all over the world: California, Helsinki, Turku, Finland, San Diego, Israel, Florida, Orlando, Florida. Let me scroll that a bit and see how that is. And there is Seattle, Denmark, Netherlands, UK. Oh yeah, it's all over the world. Canada, North Carolina, Sweden. As I said before many times, that the black and white assignment from that 52 assignment was one of the highest in quality. It was really good, and that's why I wanted to have a separate live stream just for the black and white images. And I think someone suggested that on somewhere. I think it was in the Facebook group where you post those images, that somebody said that I need to have a separate black and white stream. Thanks for the tip, because that was a good tip, and I don't know if I could have actually thought that of myself, which would have been a bit odd, because it's a no-brainer to have a separate live stream when you have such a good amount of really good images. And let's see who else. Japan, Vienna, California, Austria, yeah, Netherlands, Indiana. There was someone from Brussels, Michigan. Quite a lot of people from different parts of the world. That's thing always for me. Even though I've been doing this, a few years, it's always puzzles me that there is the connection to all over the world, which is just great, to have people from all over the world watching the same stream here. And like 10-15 years ago, this type of thing would have needed to have a big trucks of national broadcasting company in the yard over there to do the streaming. Now we can do it with you can do it this you could do this with a phone if you wanted to. So that's just marvelous. Nobody has said anything about distorts a bit. Yes, let me turn the master a bit down. Is this better now? Thanks for pointing that out. Is this better now? Just tell me if it is. Sound is fine. Okay, it might be some different now. I just lowered the levels a bit. Yeah, thanks, Sam, for the congratulations. And those who don't know, I just signed a ambassador contract with OMDS, so I'm an OM system ambassador now. So there will be some better possibilities for me to do some content about the gear and all that stuff. But I will continue doing content about photography too, of course. Let me see. We have already 100 people here. That is a huge amount of people already. And I think we could start. And like I said, the topic today is black and white. And I need to check what the other topics were. Yeah, we have weather, blue, and bokeh next Monday. And I will open up the forum for that, so that you can start uploading those to that Google Drive where I can download those images. But that'll be next Monday. So we will have another live stream. So if you made a stunning weather image, don't worry, you might get it to the live stream next Monday. But I think we should start talking about images that you sent me, and let's go to the first image, and let me see which keyboard I'm gonna press. Okay, and the first one is, let me press like that so we can see the names. Okay, it doesn't say the name here now, but it's David Kreft, and this is an old west ghost town of Bannack in Montana, and he used a Canon 80D, and he says, what he says on here is that old west ghost towns in black and white are a great combination. I totally agree, and this was a really interesting composition. What I like about this is the kind of like a rhythm that there are 3 different levels. You have the front of the first building, and then you have something in the back, and then you have even worse building on the back. So it's kind of like you have the best looking building. You can actually, there is some windows that are not broken. I probably, they have fixed those, and then you have a bit less. How do you say that the image, or not the image, the building in the back is a bit worse condition. Then you have a shed type in the back, and I think this is well done. And then all of a sudden there's a pretty good bench in the front, which is probably quite new. So there's a lot of contrast too, and also the reflection on the windows are always good things in photographs. "108 people watching. That's a huge crowd already after 7 minutes on the live stream. I don't remember having this much audience before. And let me see the next one. And if you have any, am I out of focus? Really? Let me check that. Is the focus okay? Yeah, it might, when I turn the head, the face recognition does not recognize me if I turn my head down. That's probably why. Sorry about that. And let's see the next image. We have James sent the next image, and this was one of the best portraits that we had on this black and white. And this is his daughter. And the thing, what it was inspired by Irving Penn. And yeah, you can totally see that this is inspired by Irving Penn and the 60s fashion photography. Also, you could also be inspired by Richard Avedon. I think that could also go, because this type of the portraiture is, I think this is more of fashion than a portrait in a way. But it could go as a portrait too if one feels like that. And let me just put it on so that there's no other distraction around the photograph. But everything works on this. The graphical elements, the black and white, and then you have the skin color. It's almost like only 2 colors, black and white, on this. So and no, not that much gray on the image. Of course, the skin is in between, but that's what it makes. And of course, the hat is just really, really great on this. And you don't always have to have really strict eye contact when you have a portrait. This could also work like this when you have some more towards the fashion way, and it's more of a show of a hat, for example. This could also be a great image of the hat, or from a fashion magazine from the 60s. And this is a gorgeous image, really well done. Oh, William is asking if this was the birthday. It doesn't say here, but it could be. Almost a still life, he says. Thailand. Yeah, thanks. The focus is okay. There's probably some problems slightly, but now it's fixed. Thanks for letting me know that, because I can't really monitor the live stream and look at the photographs and everything and comment them. So I have the comments over there, so I try to look at the comments. If you have any questions or comments about the photographs, just please feel free to comment too. And let's go to the next one. This one is from Finland, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Antero Apilainen is taken at Järvenpää Park. That's let's say a half an hour drive north from where I live. Very cold and icy fog made the trees very beautiful. A quick shot of a biker. Oh, he was trying to catch some ice skaters on the lake, but then he saw this. And yeah, it's quite common actually that people ride bikes on the weathers like this. They have, even spikes on their tires in the bikes, and they usually, do pretty well plowing the bikeways so that they can ride the bikes during winter. And I think the image is really good. Not very much, shades of gray. It's all kind of like black and white in a way that there are a lot of blacks and then there is a lot of white. And I think these types of images are really great. And then if you look at the composition, you have 5 trees, and then you have one tree in the middle, almost in the middle. I don't know if you can see not that one. Let's see here, this tree here, and you have kind of leading lines towards here, and then you see the bicyclist over there. And I think that's, as a composition, is great. And of course the mood and that's how it looks when it's winter in Finland. The best winter days looks like this. And yeah, they are nice, but usually it's cold, and then after that, when the snow starts melting, it's not nice at all. It's slush, and everything is, you don't have any shades of any colors. Everything is just gray and very dull and boring looking. But I think when it's like this and the trees are white, then it's beautiful and very photogenic weather too. This could be a good photograph for the weather too. Let's see if there are any comments. Frank Weber says spring in Finland. Yeah, sometimes it's spring like this, but this, usually the spring is nice when the snow is gone and everything starts to get green, and that's probably the best part, because you've been having this winter dark, and then all of a sudden it starts to get warmer and lighter, and colors come out. That's the good time of the year. Let's see. Oh, David Sullivan is asking that put up a few photos that were okay but could have been better, then give some advice. Yeah, that's also something that I could do. But also I think it's important to give credit to people that have taken or made really great photography. But yeah, I'll put that in mind. Or Raymond Photos is saying that every season is great. Yeah, in a way they all had their good sides, but I still like spring and summer. Good weather, nice colors, and all that. That's great. Okay, let's move on. This one was an interesting photograph from, the name is Przemysław Zabrolski. An initial taken for wide angle week, but following one of your advice, I started playing with my photos, trying to check how it looks in black and white. I found this pic much more interesting in this theme. Yeah, in this theme. Yeah, that's what it was. And yeah, I agree that this type of image, old, abandoned building, what it looks like, and probably abandoned warehouse or factory, they usually come out real nice if you photograph them black and white. It gives them slightly mysterious and maybe a bit haunting feeling too sometimes. And this is all about light and shadows, because on this one too, there aren't too many shades of gray in the between black and white. You have the black wall, and then you have the bright light on the floor, and then you have the windows, or actually they're not windows anymore, they're holes in the wall that are really bright. And this type of image is not that easy to make, and if you come across places like this, then just walk around and try to find the best angle and use the light that there is. And I think this one has a really great light. And what's really interesting is that the light hits this pillar, maybe it is, and then it's dark over here. It looks to be like it is right against this wall, but I think there is some space between here, and that's why that part is black or totally in shadow and dark, and that's how this pillar is out there. And I think this is really nice. And like I said, always if you find a place like this, be careful. First of all, you never know who's lurking in the dark there, so be careful. And also look for different types of compositions, details, and play around with the light and shadow. And I think that's something about this image. And yeah, let's go to the next one. Let's see. And let's see. Then we have Karen Mcbride. I remember 2 images of this dog, which looks really a bit miserable on the snow there. And what I like about this is that it looks like he or she's been there for a long time, because you don't really see the tracks of or the the markings on the snow, and it looks really great. And having the snow there, and you can see that it's snowing, and I think that's one of. Let me turn myself off for a little while so I can see you can see the whole photograph. And I think this whole setting, and also this one, doesn't have really that much between black and white. There is more gray because the forest in the back, and then you have the snowflakes in the front. One way of getting these snowflakes visible is to use a flash, which will illuminate the snowflakes in the front and kind of make a front bokeh in a way. And this is just marvelous image. And like she said, she had 2 images, and this one was a bit better in her opinion. And yeah, this is a great. And also the composition is really nice, that it's not centered, but it's kind of like 1/3 to the side, the dog, which makes it more interesting. And then of course the separation from the background. It's not easy because it's snowing and you have snow all over the place, but the forest in the back is a bit darker, so you have the snow there on the top of the dog, which makes it or gives it the separation of the background. And I think that's always a good thing. If you don't see the subject from the background, then you have something wrong in your image. You need to have a good separation from the background in most cases. Then the image usually looks more interesting, and there is more feeling of depth and 3D, and the subject pops out a bit more if there is a good separation from the background. Like if I remember correctly, no, it's not yet the image that I was thinking about. It's later. I will talk about that later. All right, let's continue and check out this image. This is an image from Mark Chambers. This was taken on the River Nith in the center of Dumfries. I had wanted to take an image of a common bird with a slight difference. On this visit, it was the first time that I had seen a gull stationary on the call. It was taken on the 300mm and the extender, and it's 1/10 of a second exposure and handheld shot. And this is a remarkable shot in many ways. First of all, the water looks stunning, and the shutter speed is just perfect. And the amazing thing that the bird hasn't moved at all. It's pin sharp, and that makes it a really, really interesting looking image. And the thing is that this is not purely black and white, because you have a yellow color in the, what do you call the, it's not a nose, but whatever that's called of a bird. So this was almost ditched, but I wanted to have this anyways because it has such a black and white feel to the image. Yeah, I think it is water. Someone said it's a field, or was it windy? Let me check that. Did I say something wrong? The river. Yeah, it's got talk about a river. Yes. Yeah, let's talk about river. Yeah, but it could be actually a windy day with the with the field going this type. So but yeah, really well done with this image. Yeah, true that what Cliff is saying, that there is a straight eye contact. Yeah, it's like the bird is posing and staying still all the 1/10 of a second, which is actually quite a long exposure. And let's go to the next one. And this one was from Hugh Parry. I was walking out and had my pen F with me. It was a gray day, so was shooting in the monochrome mode. Came across this sad, sorry-looking horse. Yeah, it was a 12mm lens, and then Silver Effects was the editing software that was used when this image was edited. And I think this is just marvelous image. And here we have another way of separating the subject from the background is the luminance values or all colors too. In this, you could call colors black and white, even though they are not colors, but you know what I mean. And that dark background and the white horse makes a good separation from the background, and then also it makes it more 3D, and the horse really pops from the image. And I think that's one of the greatest things on this image. And also, the horse just looks a bit sad, but somehow very photogenic at the same time. And I'm not a big fan of this type of frames that there is on this image, but I think it kind of fits this one. So it's okay, and the composition is fine. You really nailed it, I think, in many ways. What do you guys think about this? Yeah, I totally agree with Don that what he says, that love the 1:1 format really suits the image. I totally agree. Let's see if there is any other comments about this. Yeah, great contrast on this too, and that's one of the things that usually I've commented quite a few times, your images, that they need a bit more contrast, and this one doesn't. I think this one has a perfect contrast. And also what's important on this, which I did not say, is the texture of the fur of the, so everything, it's a bit blown out on the stream, I see, but there are some details. There is some really white parts here, but there are some details in the face, so it is well exposed image, or the exposure was correct on this image. But let's see the next one. And this one, the name is this is Jonas Trumper has sent this image, and the Solitude is the name of this image. I love doing black and white anyhow, but this one was a nice challenge to deliberately think what this topic means to me. Yeah, and I think that's a good point, and many of you have understood what the whole point of the 52 assignment is. It's, of course, it's about good photographs, but it's as much about thinking about photography and how to do it, and what does it mean. If there is an assignment, try to think what it means. And and many of you have said that they've gone out of their comfort zone, and some of you, even with the bus assignment, said that they haven't been to a place for 2 years where there are buses, and that's the essence of the whole thing, to start thinking and start doing and get inspired, and then the good images will follow. And that's my thoughts on that, and I think it's very good that many of you have kind of understood that, what is it all about. And I came to the conclusion that I'm going to take this literal meaning, so I wanted to create something really black and really white. While we rarely have sun this time of year, it was only natural to go for a night shot and expose for the highlights. This lone person walking along the trail was the bonus I didn't even dare to hope for. Yeah, that's another thing that when you start planning your shot, you start looking around, you start seeing things. All of a sudden, things start to happen. That's what I call the photographer's luck. And I don't think it's pure luck. It's also about giving the luck a chance so that you really plan the shot and be alert, and then the luck will follow. And then you get one of these images, because sometimes you just cannot get this if you don't have some kind of an idea where to start from, and then you end up with maybe something else. I've talked about this many times before, and this is a typical example of this. And the direction of the light is perfect, even though the light to this person here doesn't come from this light. There are more lights over there. It still kind of looks that it's lit by this light, even though it's not. And that's also something that makes this image interesting, because you don't see the other lights at all, even though there are some spots here, so you could kind of understand that there are lights. And of course these shadows here, but these shadows just makes the path or the road more interesting, because there are some shadows and some light and then some shadows, and it looks like it's a bit curved like this, and it's not totally flat road. Maybe it is a bit like this, but that's what it looks like, and it makes it more interesting. And then there is just enough details in the background, even though unfortunately you don't really see on the live stream, but there are some details on the back. There is a wall in the back, dark gray wall, and the light that comes above, and there are probably some lights in behind also, that makes the good separation from the background, so you can actually see the person. There is enough rim light around so that it makes the shape of a person, so you can really see. And I think this is very simple image, but usually a simple image is really good, and that's why I like this image. And sometimes a small element like the person in the image is really essential for the image to be good. Without that person, I don't think the image would be that interesting. But once the person enters the kind of like the frame, it becomes interesting. It's a small thing. And let's see if there are any comments. Yeah, hello. Sorry, I can't read the comments at the same time. I just let's see what it is. Nothing really. Yeah, well, this one. Yeah, this one, I think. Love this night shot. Photo noir, perfect timing. Yeah, I agree. And timing is always one key thing on these type of images, because you want to have the person at the right place. Of course, sometimes they might, walk all over the place, and you cannot really control that. But that's just patient, and you need to be patient to achieve that. But let's continue to the next image. And here is one of this is Maurice Camper and chess game. That's the only thing he wrote on this. And yeah, I was when I made this black and white assignment on, there were two things that I know that there's going to be. I knew that there's going to be a chessboard, and then some street photography. And yeah, I was right. But then of course there were some really nice surprises too. I'm not saying that an image of a chess game or street photography is not a good idea. But yeah, I think this has a good composition. It's not from a real game, I think, because the pieces are not in this one is not in the, or is it? Maybe it is. But what I like about this is the reflection. There could have been even more of the reflection, just with some editing, just to bring it even more visible. That could have been really good. And then I like the fact, I don't know if this was just an accident, but I really like the marking here, which is, I think, is something just to add, just to break the the composition in a good way. And I think this one works real well, and the direction of the light is good. You have a really nice side lighting. The only small thing that I would do is to have some more light over here so that there would be a better separation from the background. But other than that, I think this is a nice composition. And photographing a chessboard with the pieces, I think, is a good practice of many things. It's there's a lot of patterns, and then there are shapes and different ways of arranging the board, and then different directions for the light, and then just play around with the camera and do that, and maybe even do some long exposure where you move the pieces and you get these strikes of light behind them and all that type of stuff. There's a lot of possibilities. So if you have a chess game at home, just try to play around with it. Of course, playing it, but also playing around with it so that you can photograph different types of images. I think there were some other images of chess game too in some of the assignments, but if I remember correctly. Let's see. Yeah, they are almost silhouettes, the first species. That's really good. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, king are within one square, so not a real game. True that, yeah. Let's me see. Yeah, that's true. This is black and white photo of black and white subjects. Yeah, that's true. We don't even know if this was a color image, because this would be it. If you have a black background, black and white, board, and then you have the pieces black and white, it could be. And let me go to the next image here. This one also is one of those where you need that person, and this was Sebastiano Piglio. On a slightly rainy Sunday morning, I accompanied my son to the train station, and I saw this particular figure walking up and down the platform. Yeah, and I think this is also a typical example of needing a small element. If this could have been empty, okay, it could have been, because there are some nice shapes and different colors, but it could have been a bit too busy. Adding one element makes this more calm, because we have something for our eye to rest on, and that's exactly here, the person, and it's a perfect position. And also, unfortunately, we still need to use masks in many places. And that mask here is also a good thing if we think about the photograph, because there is some white point that draws our attention to the face, to the person, so it doesn't wander. And then also this pillar here in the front, and these two kind of frames him inside that. This could work also with a bit tighter crop to have this part out, and maybe this, it could, I'm not really sure, I didn't try that, but that could be something that it could work. But I think it's totally fine like this. I don't know, what do you think? Used to get on the let me see. Great gray tones. Yeah, I agree that there are good trade, but you also what's important when you have these great gray tones, you also need the black and white. Like here we have, there is black, and then we have, this is black, and then we have the white over there. Usually an image, if it doesn't have a black or white, is not that good. Usually it's a bit dull. Of course, sometimes a dull image can be the point, so that making a dull image is the point of making a dull image. But in most cases, you need some contrast, so you need to have black and white, and that usually makes the image look a bit better. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, that's this. I was probably, Kitty is talking about the suggestions that I had about the composition. But yeah, you're right. It is quite balanced. Yeah, that's true. The fact that it's slightly wet at a store, it looks like it just got done raining. And like I think he said that it was a rainy morning. Yes. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, slightly rainy Sunday morning. And yeah, rain and after rain especially is a really good time to photograph because you have reflections. You have everything is wet. You have reflections and you have some shape. And like you see here, you got some wet parts and dry parts, and it makes the whole scene to have more detail, more colors, more shades of gray, shades of black, shades of white. It's usually it's a good thing. So next time it rains, go out after the rain or just before it ends. But let's go to the next image. And this one is Jurar Majerski, and photo was taken in the most frequent underpass in our town. Funny fact, I have to wait more than 5 minutes because in that time nobody was coming. At least I had time to find best possible reflections and angle of view. Yeah, sometimes you go to a place and you just have to wait for the image or something to happen, and that's one part of photography. You need to be patient. And also, what is good is that if you know places in your surroundings, like you most likely do, is to think an image kind of like beforehand, like have an idea of an image and then just try to achieve it. Like this one, for example, you could say that, okay, there's after rain, there's always a puddle in that place because usually in the cities it takes for years to fix something like that so that the water won't stay there. And then you also have on this side, you have probably some stairs because there's some light coming in. So this part is quite nicely lit. And of course, this part here. And then when you have the puddle of water, which usually gives a nice reflection, and if it's not windy, then there will be a really nice reflection. And so take advantage of that. And I think Jurai made that because this is a really good done, a well done image. And also the low angle, of course, it needs to be low if you want the reflection. But still, if there wasn't water, low angles are always interesting, or high angles. Something that's not the obvious from our eye level usually looks interesting. Let's see. Yeah, there's yeah, exactly. The low angle really makes this shot. I totally agree. And then Robin is saying, like the light coming from the top in horizontal lines. Yes, that's true. That's also, yeah, good point. There are some lights coming up from here. So you have a lot of things going on. So if this is something that you can go many times, or it's somewhere that it's close enough so that you can go there, this is a really good place to make images. And yeah, that's also true, the 50-50 ratio of reflections. That'd be cool. And what would be cool if you could get a reflection a reflection so that you can see half of the person up here and then half over here. This is almost like that, but I don't think it's might not be possible. That could be cool if you kind of like the top part was a reflection and the bottom part was in the real image over here. That would probably be cool. I don't know if that's possible to do on that place. Might not be, but it's worth a try. Yeah, this is also one thing. This is a good point, Cliff. Brilliant reflection, so much for the eye to look at, but not distracting at all. And yeah, that's always something that how much details there should be in an image before it becomes too distracting. Where is the limit? And it's really hard to say. And I totally agree that the limit on this image hasn't, been crossed, or it's not too busy, even though there are a lot of things. You have the reflections, you got all these nice murals here, you have this guy over there, you get white here, you get something, you start wondering what's over there, and then like I said, the reflection and all this, and yeah, you always need to think that don't put too much in the image so that it's not too busy. The eye always has to have a place to rest, because then the image usually is a lot more pleasing. And that was really good point. Yeah, that's also one point about black and white. Like Ann Smith is saying here, black and white works well with this image. In color, it may be too busy. That's true. If there was a lot of colors here and colorful persons here and colors everywhere, these are some, these are not black and white, then it could be really busy. And so sometimes like lowering the saturation of an image could do wonders in a place like this if you want to do it in color. But I think this worked well as black and white. And let's go to the next one. And this is Richard Beard. This was taken on a walk near home in Northumberland on the banks of the South Tyne River. It was taken on my Galaxy Note 10, as I did not have my camera with me. Always have the camera with you, but good thing you had the phone to take this. And I converted it to black and white and cropped it slightly in Snapseed. So this is all mobile. And as you can see, it's not about the gear. It's about seeing, and also about the editing. And I think this image is good because of the sky and also the placement of the sun here. And of course, the composition when you have these tracks here and you have the rivers here, you got kind of like a leading lines, and then the subject is not at the end of the leading lines. It's between. It kind of breaks it, and that's why this composition is really interesting. And this is almost a lonely tree image, which is really a kind of like a classical and simple way to make a great image is to photograph some lonely tree and then have a lot of empty space around it, and use the negative space. And this is kind of part of that tradition, but I think this is more interesting in many ways because of the sun and the sky. And of course, the shape of the tree is really nice. Let's see. Yeah, this one, very dramatic tone. Lines are good. Yeah, exactly. I agree. That was well done. And then was the image that I was referring earlier a bit. This is Dawn Snow, who also is known as Olympus Snow, which is really cool. And this shot took me approximately 30 minutes of lying on the cold ground waiting for the horses to give a decent composition. This is, I was laughing when I was reading this. I was like, I can imagine someone lying around on the ground waiting for 30 minutes to something to happen. I think that's dedication. And sometimes an image that you have in mind takes that, and sometimes might take a lot longer than that. But I hope you didn't catch a cold, because lying on this, might be good. But yeah, glad I did, he says. That's really true. And he says that it's taken with EM5 with the Canon vintage lens, so you don't always need the latest OM1s to get great images. You can use your older gear too. But about this image, that first of all, the composition is stunning. I think the fact that the horses are on the side here is a good call. It's not the obvious, but that makes it interesting because it's not the obvious. And also, of course, the sky is beautiful. And I like that the front is totally black. There is, of course, some room to crop it even more, panoramic view if you want. But then you don't want to lose this, because this is totally awesome looking sky. And what's really interesting also and important is that there is really nice rim light on the back. And to get one of these images, sometimes, yes, you need to wait for a long time. And if you have time, don't settle with the first image you get, but start, you don't have to lay on the ground. you can do this differently also if you want. You can, in a different place. Just wait for the horses to be in the position the way you like, because of course you cannot control it. They are what they are, and then you just have to be ready to take that image, think the composition ready, and then when you see the horses the way you want them to be, then just grab it. I think this is a stunning image. Yeah, this I have to answer to yes. Speaking of OM1, yes, Jesse, tomorrow at 3 p.m. Finnish time, there is a video where there is a link. There's also, if I may, to make a little advertisement here, there will be also an affiliate link, but also the code gets you about a 1 hour Zoom session with me in a group session, maximum of 5, if you use that code that I will reveal tomorrow in my video about OM1, which I actually have right here. But that's enough of the advertisement. Let's continue with the images. Yeah, I totally agree with Sam. Good image as well for a publication, somewhere to put print. Yeah, this is one of those images that you could print and have a really huge, in a wall. I would, if I taken this image, I would probably print it and hang it on a wall. Yeah, let's see if there are any other comments. Yeah, let's look at the comments. Yeah, let's take the next one. Well done. And then another image with great composition is from Yosiran. This twisted staircase is the entrance to the poetry trail Wadi Nisnas in Haifa. I stood still in the same position and waited to catch someone at the top of the imaginary triangle. After 14 minutes, a woman appeared and stopped exactly where I wanted her to be. Haha, great. I love these kind of stories that you wait, okay, 14 minutes is not that long, but of course it depends on if you're in a hurry or not. But that's the way to do great images, is to kind of pre-visualize the thing and then just wait something to happen. And like I said, give the luck a chance. Without you waiting and seeing the image beforehand, you would not have that luck, because we walk past many of these situations every day. Of course, we are not always there to photograph, but when we are, then we do have the possibility to get images like this. And this composition is just great. You see the handrail, you see the stairs, everything kind of leads to the lady. And then, of course, this is okay, black and white, but it looks that she had really dark clothes, most likely black, unless they were red and then it was fixed with post-production. But anyways, it's not always in our hands that something like this happens. And I think it was worth waiting that 14 minutes and see what happens. Sometimes, yeah, it might not happen, but if you don't give it a try, then it won't happen. But if you give it a try, it might happen. So really glad that you waited, and congratulations for a great looking image. And then another one. This is from Sam Thompson, and he said that a few days before taking the photo, I was passing the shop and saw the photo, but knew that I'd have to return at a later time of day when the ambient light had reduced, so that there would be a better balance between the man in the street and the reflection on the shop window. Yeah, this is also a good example of an image that you really need to pre-visualize and see a opportunity and go back and then wait for something to happen. And like I said in the previous images, sometimes it does and sometimes it not. And what's really nice about this image is the reflection, of course. This is probably taken from through a glass, must be, and then you get reflections of the pictures here. And sometimes this could be a good way of trying to do so that if you have one of these shops where you have these framed pictures, what if it was able to get the person inside one of these frames? That would probably be a pretty cool looking image. I don't know if it's possible on this location, but somewhere it must be possible. Of course, if it's the picture that reflects to the window is really busy, then it might not be that possible. But getting a face here framed could be pretty interesting. And let's see if there is any comments. Yes. Yeah, this is a good point. This is actually one of the best things that I like about, of course, the images itself, but to see different places around the world, like the 52 assignments. Like I said in one comment, that it would be nice if people put where these images are taken or made. Okay, you don't have to do it here that much, but of course the comments are there, which they or the comments about the images where they say where it was taken, and I think that's also a big part, to see images from different parts of the world. We've had darkness, winter, snow, a lot of snow this year. It's been so nice to see images from South Africa, Australia, where there is a lot nicer weather. So it's really great, and of course see different towns and different places, and yeah, it's great. Yeah, this is from Guernsey. Yeah. And let's go to the next one. Well done, Sam, again. I really like your style. And then an image from Finland. This is a factory. I think it's still working factory, as you can see the steam going there. And I think this image, when I saw this, was first that I thought that there should be someone there, someone standing somewhere. But then I don't know if it needs that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Would it be better if there was someone there, like the couple of previous images where there were, quite empty and that? But in a way, I think it works really well like this. You start kind of wondering what's in there and what are they actually doing. That's the main gate. Says pääportti, which is main gate in Finnish, and that's where they go in to work every day and come out. And this type of industrial buildings with usually brick walls and built out of bricks are really photogenic, and if you have a possibility to photograph inside one of these places, just do it and try how it looks, because they are really interesting. Empty is okay. A cat, maybe. That's a good one. Well, cats are always nice. Be a few uniform workers, but great as it's too. Yeah, all that texture makes it. Yeah, I agree that it doesn't really need that one person or that one small detail. There are quite a lot of details, and an image like this, you also have a lot of depth of field. I don't know. Well, let's see if Ari said what F number was. Yeah, it's f2. Well, 25mm lens. Excuse. And that's interesting. There's quite a lot of depth of field. I would have thought that it would have been, f5.6 maybe. Oh, this is Ibrahim reminds me of Gotham. Yeah, that's Gotham City. Yeah, it's Tampere. It's not Gotham City. Tampere. It's 2-hour drive north of Helsinki. And let's me go to the next one. Then we have Ian Wade. This seat is on the headland near our house. I saw this couple taking photos with their phone and checking the images. And this one also is made with a phone. And oops. Yeah, this stream is saved. It's on my channel, so you can watch it from there afterwards if you don't have time. And then this image by Ian Wade. And this is also one of those empty lonely tree images with addition of these two persons sitting in the shade and taking pictures. And the composition is just great. Everything is great in this image. And I think having the bench and two people there just, makes the image, even though I really like the tree here. It's an interesting tree by the sea. And then if we look at the composition here, which is good, I think the crop or the way that it's framed, I think this, that you have the light over here, it makes a big deal. And then of course having a windy day, so you have the waves here. But this location is something that if it's near your house, you should go there every day and take an image from the same spot, and then have 365 images of this with different times of day, different weathers, and different amount of people, and sometimes empty. And this is just something that I would love to see. There's so many possibilities in a place like this. A simple, nice place to make images. Let's see. Let's see what it says. Yeah, Roy Images says, good lighting, the shade falls on the people, makes it a great composition. Exactly, yes. Let's see if there's something earlier up here. Let's see. Yeah, beautiful. This couple sitting on a bench make it. Yeah, I totally agree on that. Yes, let me see if that was the couple sitting on the bench make it. Yeah, I totally agree about that. It's an important thing. Of course, there is the bench, so that is also something. And sometimes it could be empty, and we start thinking, well, why is nobody there? Somebody had just left. That's also something to consider. But let's see, what time is it? Okay, it's been on about an hour, and I don't know how far are we? Not that much. Okay, and then Wolfgang Medlish is, winter sun is breaking through the trees, made visible by maybe small snow particles swirled up by the wind. And yeah, I think this particles of snow probably that makes the image. Without that, it would have been a bit boring. And this one also, I think, could benefit from a person up here. But I think this small detail in the back is kind of the person in the image, which makes it interesting, because it is a tree or whatever that is. I can't really say. And then of course it looks like there is some snow on the ground because there is some reflection, or maybe it's even ice, and there is some reflections here that makes it really interesting. And also what I like about this is the shadow here, the strong shadows, really harsh light, and then having the sun in the corner, and you can see this light streaks going through. And if this place is something that if there was a person, it would have been even better. But I think it's totally fine like this, so it doesn't need it necessarily, but that would have added something to the image. Yeah, I totally agree with Jesse. Of this is fantastic. Those god rays pointing you to the path is great. Yeah, they are. Let's see. No. Yeah, I totally agree with Mura. These are really great photos. I totally agree. This black and white assignment was stunning. Was so good, so good. And let's go to the next image. And this one was A.T. Cooper. I found black and white more difficult than I thought it would be. I've been inspired by everyone in the group with their photos and try to get out of my comfort zone. Taken with EM5 Mark II and a 60mm macro. I think this is a beautiful image. Simple and beautiful, and black and white is just perfect for this. And I also like the composition of this image. It's not the obvious, and I think the crop here is kind of nice. It's not the way you should do it, and that's why it makes it so interesting. And also the text and the fact that it's taken from that direction, so that the text goes on to the upper part of the image. So there are a lot of things that are wrong that makes it so great, in my opinion, because it's something that many of us would have done totally from a different direction, and that's why this is a great image. And also, you can see the nice carvings on the pen here. Yeah, very very well done. Yeah, this I totally agree. Where was that? Yes, here what Anna Smith said, that this is beautiful. The detail in the pen is great. Exactly, and if it has done from the other direction, you wouldn't see that. And I think that's part of the greatness of this image. And also that there you can see the texture of the paper, and there's some light. So, and also what it looks like, it's kind of like the paper would bend, and you can see from here like it bends upwards here. It probably doesn't, but that's what it looks like because of the shadows. It's like the pen is in a well, what do you call it? It's lower. Yes, and let me check what comments. Oh, you mean that what I'm saying, that it's wrong? Yeah, it's wrong in a good way. And when I say wrong, I mean not the obvious way that someone would do it. This image. That's what I mean about being it wrong. It's not wrong in the sense of wrong. Let's see. Let's see, and take the next one. And this one of the most simple images. This is from Anne Kasurinen. Was really struggling with the black and white assignment, partly due to the limitation, but finally got this image of pin shadows created by light on A4 paper. Since early February it was cloudy and did not get that much real sunlight from window, needed to add more light to the shot with small LED lights and experiment a bit from which direction the angle the light creates the best or sharpest shadows on the paper. Slightly edited the picture after taking some cropping and that type of stuff. And I think this is a good example of when you start looking around and you're struggling and don't know what to find. Then you might see these pins and start playing around. And I think this is one of those good examples of images that you can make out of nothing in a way. You have a piece of paper and a couple of pins, and then you start playing around with light, which I think is great. And what's funny about this is the directions of the light, that they're going all over the place. Like, this doesn't look natural. You have this light over there and this one over there, and then but of course it's the placement of the light that makes it. You kind of play around, and then you can see these shadows going all over the place, which makes it a bit odd looking, because you don't really see the direction of the light immediately. You can of course understand where it comes from, but still, if all the shadows would have gone to the same spot, it'd be really clear and what do you call, like a simple image. Now it makes it a bit more complicated because the shadows are going all over the place. And also the slight vignette, which is probably natural, or was it with the image editing? No, it doesn't say. Cropping and adjusting contrast so that you can really see this slight vignetting, which kind of leads our eyes to the middle and doesn't bleed, or the image doesn't bleed out, so we won't get lost, and this kind of blocks our eye to go out. So it's actually an important part. And of course you see the structure of the paper too, which looks nice. But yeah, this is a good example of playing around with stuff that you have on your table. Just grab something that you have there and start playing around with light. You don't need fancy LEDs. You can use use your phone flash or your phone screen as a light source, or small LEDs or small lights that you might have at home, and use those. And all these different types of lights that you use during renovations, for example. What do you call these construction type lights that you can use, and all that is just something to play around. And so there's always something to photograph. Just grab the nearest object you have and start playing around with that, and with light and colors and contrasts and stuff like that, and then you'll end up with something. And sometimes it might be a good image. And let's continue and see what else do we have here. Then we have this from Tony Alford. It's live boards on Stratford-upon-Avon Canal. And these are really interesting looking boats. And I don't know if I understood correctly that people might live in those, which would be so cool. And this one also has a really good composition. You have the leading lines, you have this bank here, and it's kind of the river starts turning there, which is always an interesting thing. If you have something that turns off the image, then you start wondering what's there. And of course it looks like it starts to, or the amount of boats is bigger. It doesn't start, but there are a lot more boats behind which we cannot see. And something like this could also work as a color image if these are really colorful, and you might have some colors and colored leaves and everything. So this could also work as a color image. And usually many images that are really good, they work both in black and white and color. Not always, but sometimes. And that could also be something. But I really like this image. It's a classic way of making a composition, so that's usually a good thing. Yes, people live in them indeed. Oh, metal and philosophy. Yes, people live in them. Thanks. Let me see what else, if there is yeah, and let's go to the next one. And this one is from Marina. I really enjoyed the black and white theme this week. Photo was taken directly in black and white in the monotone mode. That's what she used the first time. This is an old bunker in Grode Podium, the Netherlands, from the Second World War. The shadows and the trees behind the bunker seems to follow each other. Yeah, this caught my eye first, of course, the shadows in the front, and then, of course, they kind of like follow. It's kind of like an extension of the shadow of the trees behind. And usually, when you make an images, having the sun behind you is not the best possible idea. Usually it's better if it comes from somewhere else but behind you. But on this one, that's just the right place for the light to come. And when you are making images like this, always check out that you are not in the image, unless that's the point. But on this one, I don't think it would have been good if the photographer would have been here as a shadow. So always try to make the composition show that you're not there in that image. And this trees are kind of leading lines that takes us into the image, and then we see the thing, and then we see the kind of like the extension, like she says. And what's interesting about this image is it is kind of 3D, but then the background is kind of 2D, which is something that really puzzles my mind, because you have great kind of like a depth here because of the shadows of the trees, and then you have kind of like wall there, which is, of course, there is a wall, and then you have the trees. And this is an image that I can kind of watch it a long time, and it still is really interesting, even though it is a really simple image. And I kind of like this a lot. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, that's this is a good point here. I like the equal spacing on either side of the crop. Centers the building really well. Yeah, that's this type of image needs to be symmetrical, in my opinion. That's a good point. That's a good point. Let's go to the next one. And this one is Judith Clark Upton, first blooming meadow daisy in one of the few sunny spots along our morning walk. And yeah, this is a good example of using color and this time luminosity to separate something from the background. It really looks good, and you can really see how the flower pops out. And actually, this image looks a bit better on the stream because in my opinion, it needs a bit more contrast, but it looks really great on the stream there. Really rich blacks and bright white. I think it's a lot better there. And the composition is really well done. You go, low angle, and then you still have the background, which kind of, the shallow depth of field makes it, not too busy because it looks a bit busy. But with the shallow depth of field and it being a bit darker than the foreground, makes the flower separate really well from the background. And really nice and simple image that we have a possibility to photograph in the spring. All of us, if we just look around. Don't always look this way. Look down or look up and you will see something different. Only small distracting thing is this white part in the back. Let me turn myself off. I would probably darken this a bit because it is a bit too dark. Too bright, so that it might catch our attention too much. But other than that, just perfect. All right, let's see what else do we have here coming towards our way. Something different. Roman Vosen, my wife and our son at a workshop in a museum. And I think when I remember this image from the Facebook group when this was posted, and I just love this image because the table takes us there and then it kind of splits in a way. Even though they are together, there's some odd feeling to it and what they are doing. And this probably, I think it's a museum where you can, do stuff with the kids and they can make something, and you probably, you can then hang them there, and it's part of the experience to do something. But he's a bit, doesn't really be sure what to do, and probably the mother is, telling what to do. And I just love the situation on this image, and then a bit odd composition where you have this in the middle, which kind of separates the two, even though they are together. This is one of those images that you can just, look around all the stuff that's going on, and then, looking at the story, that what's going on. I think this is a fascinating image in that sense. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me see. Oh, this is a good point. It looks as a Stanley Kubrick composition. That's a big compliment for the photographer. But I agree, Raymond. It is something like that. But yeah, but just let us know what you think of this image. Now let's see. There are still few left. So we have 144 people watching. That's a huge crowd. And then we have this Gene Summit. I walk in a park in the early afternoon. A couple and a man walking his dog are visible. Yeah, this is also one of those places that you just need to wait for something to happen, and something that the people are in the right spot and right place. And as you see, I really appreciate images like this because it's not something a spectacular looking place. It could be, I'm not saying, but it doesn't show in the image. But still, you have an image there, which can be interesting. But it's all about the people there. If you don't have those, then it's not interesting. But this is also a place where you could get a nice set of images with different type of people, with different positions, with different places, and then just you have a set of images, because it is an interesting looking place for photography. And I think these type of places, this could also be something with colors. If you had really deep green here and deep blue sky, and then you would have a nice color contrast there, and then some different color clothes with on the people or people wearing when they're walking there, and on maybe bikes, and this is an endless of possibilities in this spot to make great photography, simple and great photography. I really like this type of images, as you probably know or have found out. And let's go to the next one. And then we have Stefan Zaminski. This is what he said, that capturing the motion with relatively low shutter speed. In addition, I try to achieve a high key effect. Yeah, this is kind of a high key effect, and this is always, you need to be really careful when you're trying to or deliberately overexpose something, because digital overexposure isn't usually the nicest way, so you have to be really careful. On this one, I think Stefan nailed it. It's not bad looking overexposure at all. I think it works perfectly, and that's one part, is that these persons are most likely having dark clothes. White jacket on this one wouldn't have worked. And there is a big part, not a big, I mean a small part, that is a bit not that nice looking. So this could actually be cloned out. That's what I mean when it's overexposure and it starts bleeding and making funny looking shapes. But other than that, it's really looks good, and the high key effect is there. And then there is the black, which is here and here, and then you have white and black, and really contrast the image. And this is also something that you don't see with your own eyes. You need to pre-visualize the style, and you need to know how to make it. And I think he nailed on this one. And of course, then it's all about the shapes and how people are walking and where they are walking on the image. And that's something that usually might need several images to achieve this. And what I like about this, the shape, not the shape, but the position of the legs, which are really interesting looking there. And then you have someone going quite fast. That's what it looks like, because there is some motion blur, and that's also like, is she trying to catch her or follow her? What's going on here? There's always, when there's two people in the photograph, you start thinking about their relationship to each other, and that's, even though they might not even know each other, but that's something that you start thinking about, what's going on in the image. Well, let me see. Yeah, that's true. The motion is a really important thing. Like, I really like the motion in the feet, like Jesse says. And let me see this. Yeah, true. It is a fun image. I agree. And then get musical bar vibes. Okay, what type of bar and what type of music? That'd be interesting to hear. Passing of leg. Yes, very good point. Oh yeah, this is a good point. It doesn't talk about this image, but what Donald Snow is saying, one thing about black and white week, I haven't switched my camera settings. I love viewing black and white images in the viewfinder. Helps me see contrast and compose better and process Adobe standard color in post. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I thought I had something about this in the brief, that sometimes looking at things in black and white might get you a better image, because you start looking at the shapes and stuff like that. But of course, you need to sometimes pay attention to the color. If it cannot be too distracting. But it's a good practice to do black and white photography, and I think that's a good way of looking at through the viewfinder. And that's a great thing about mirrorless cameras and Olympus cameras also, because when you're photographing in RAW, you still have the color information there. The camera just records or shows you the image in black and white, but you still have the color information left, so you don't have to decide. And of course, it works the other way too. You can always make a color image to black and white. But if you're shooting JPEG, then of course the black and white is kind of baked in. Then you cannot change it anymore. So you need to shoot RAW. Okay, Mike Shelley does that too. Yeah, that's interesting. That's something that I need to look into a bit more. That's interesting. And then we go to the next one, and this is Suleiman Ibrahim, Bicycle Boy is the unofficial title. Was taken by chance. I captured someone cycling past an alleyway in the town of Shrewsbury. I actually kept taking photos of this alley from a distance in the hope of capturing someone or something interesting going past. Well, you did manage to do that, and I don't believe in luck in photography. Like I said many times, that you need to give the luck a chance to think something. Like a place like this, you take a photographs and then you might see someone going past, and then you need to wait and if someone coming. But of course, getting a bike on this is because you don't really see when the bike is coming. You might hear something, but usually on these places there's a lot of noise you might not even hear. So you really need to be really quick. You need to have your composition made, your exposure, your the focusing made, and everything has to be ready for the moment to happen. And sometimes in street photography, there are people that use so that they kind of like pre-focus to, let's say, 3 meters or 4 meters, and then they put the F8 and just fire away. Everything is sharp. You don't need to figure out the focusing anymore. But that's something that we might talk in the future live streams when we talk about street photography. Yeah, let's see. Let's see. Yeah, I was reading the comments and seeing if there's anything really special. Let me get the next image. This is Geoff Herron. Shape and texture on the ice beneath my feet caught my eye. Spent quite some time looking for a composition that I was happy with. This is my choice from the bunch. Yeah, this is really nice abstract image, and sometimes looking down you might find the image. You don't need to look that far. It just could be right there in front of your feet. And of course, these type of images, you need to really figure out what the shapes look like and how it comes out. And I think this is something that you could, just print and frame. Like this kind of image looks like. It looks like it has been framed. With of course it's a digital frame, but it still looks like it could be a frame here, as you see this, and then you have the passepartout here, and then the image. And this is something that really could be hang on the wall. I think it's a stunning image. It's just something that you can watch all the time, and the shapes and everything, the different shades of gray and different shades of black and white, and the rhythm and everything. This is I think this is a stunning image. It doesn't look like a photograph, but it doesn't matter. I think it's a stunning image. And then we have one more image that is Kathy Swayne, and this was actually what she wrote is a thank you for the 52 assignment. And I think having the magnifying glass and then the words thank there in the dictionary, and the composition and everything, and the colors and everything. I think this is a marvelous image, and this is also a thank for you guys for sending these images and taking part in this assignment thing, which was more popular than I ever thought. I get about 500 images per assignment, which is a huge amount. And I'm really glad that you have taken it so well, and really there are a lot of you guys that have seen a progress already, and we're still, I think, we're on week 10 or 9 or something, and I can still see or already see that you've kind of progressed, and it takes some time, it takes some work. But if we are on this level now, I wonder what we are in week 20 and 30 and 40, and by the end of the year, you all have taken so many good photographs that it's beyond anything, and I'm so glad that you have taken it so well, because it's we need something fun on these times. That we're in a kind of like in a bad situation in the world right now. It's horrible things are happening, and we need to take care of ourselves. And I think photography is one thing, but we must not forget what's going on in Ukraine, and where the human rights and democracy are in crisis. So we need to also think those. And if you guys have any ways of helping, just do it. We can do it in our own ways, but we'll have to take care of ourselves too, so that we can cope with all this. And I think photography is one good way of doing and keeping our minds clear and straight, so that we can go on with our lives, because we just have to do that. Otherwise we're in big trouble. But I really want to thank you all, you guys, about this live stream and sending the images, and it's been a fun evening again. And like I said, next Monday we will have another one with the 3 other assignment, which I have to call, I don't remember this. It was weather, blue, and bokeh, and I will set up the Google form so that we can or you can send the images, and then I'll have around 7 or 8 images per assignment, and then we'll go on from that. And I will tomorrow start looking again the City Light. I think was it City Lights? Yes, this week is City Lights week 10, and look at those images and start commenting them, and keep them images coming. But now I have to say good day, good evening, good night, wherever you are and what the time zones are. There were people all over the world watching this, and I'm so happy that we still have 122 people here, and yeah, this is beyond anything. Thank you so much, and thanks for watching, and bye for now.